Many years ago, in the late 1940s, there was an old city in southwestern Nigeria called Oyo. The town was full of history and traditions. During the day, the market was always busy. People sold yams, palm oil, kola nuts, and many other things. Traders shouted to attract buyers, and the streets were lively. But at night, everything became quiet. People believed that the spirits of their ancestors moved around at night, so most families stayed inside their homes after dark. Oyo was a very old town. It existed long before colonial rule. Many families in the town were proud of their history and their connection to warriors and kings. Then something strange started happening in the town. Late at night, some farmers who were returning from their farms said they could hear drums beating deep inside the forest. But these were not normal drums used during festivals or celebrations. These drums sounded different. The beats were slow, strange, and sometimes they stopped suddenly before starting again. Anyone who heard them said the sound made them feel afraid. But when morning came, the drums always stopped, and life in the town returned to normal. Then something terrible began to happen. Children started disappearing. The first child was a boy named Akin, who was 12 years old. One evening, his father asked him to take palm oil to his uncle's house. But Akin never arrived. Later, people found his slippers near a small path that led into the forest. A few days later, another child disappeared. Her name was Sod, a young girl who had gone to fetch water. Soon, 3 more children disappeared. Now the whole town was afraid. Parents stopped allowing their children to walk alone. Many families locked their doors early at night. Mothers tied protective charms on their children's wrists to keep them safe. Men stayed awake at night with machetes, watching for danger. But every night, the mysterious drums continued to beat in the forest. The British district officer in the town was a man named Mr. Campbell, who came from Scotland. He did not believe the stories about strange drums. He said the children were probably kidnapped by criminals or had run away. But the people of Oyo believed something else. Some elders whispered that witches or secret cults might be involved. They believed the drums were a signal for something evil. One man in the town decided to find out the truth. His name was Oladipo. Oladipo was a young hunter. He was tall and brave, and he knew the forest very well. Unlike most people, he was not afraid of the dark woods. One day, his younger cousin also disappeared. That was when Oladipo made a promise to his family that he would discover what was happening. For 3 nights, he waited near the forest, watching and listening. On the 4th night, he heard it. The drums. Slow at first, then faster. Oladipo carefully followed the sound through the forest, making sure not to make any noise. Soon, he saw something moving in the distance. A group of men were walking through the trees. They wore white cloth around their waist, and their bodies were covered in white chalk markings. Some of the men were carrying large bundles. Suddenly, one of the bundles moved. Oladipo realized something terrible. The bundles were children. The men walked deeper into the forest until they reached a clearing where torches were burning. In the middle of the clearing stood a tall man holding a staff. Oladipo looked closely and felt shock. He recognized the man. It was Chief Adegbite, one of the most respected leaders in the town. He was a man who sat with the king and helped make important decisions. Oladipo could not believe what he was seeing. Chief Adegbite raised his staff, and the drum suddenly stopped. Then the chief spoke loudly to the group. He said that the sacrifice would make them powerful and protect their wealth. Oladipo understood the horrible truth. There was a secret cult in the forest, and they were using children for sacrifices. Oladipo was angry and afraid, but he knew he could not fight them alone. So he quietly returned to the town before morning. The next day, he told some people what he had seen. But many were afraid to believe him. How could such an important chief be involved in something so evil? Some people warned Oladipo to stay quiet so he would not get into trouble. But Oladipo refused to keep silent. He went to the British officer, Mr. Campbell, and explained everything. At first, Mr. Campbell laughed and said it sounded like a superstition. But when Oladipo kept insisting, the officer finally agreed to send some policemen to investigate. That night, Oladipo led the police into the forest. Soon, they heard the drums again. They followed the sound until they reached the same clearing. But this time, the cult members were ready. Someone had warned them. Suddenly, people shouted. The torches were put out, and the men ran away into the dark forest. In the confusion, Oladipo found one child tied to a tree. The child was scared but alive. But the others had already disappeared. The police returned to town with only one rescued child. Mr. Campbell told people the mission was successful, but the townspeople knew the truth. The real criminals had escaped. And the midnight drums did not stop. A few weeks later, something terrible happened. Oladipo's body was found near the river. His throat had been cut. The police said it was probably a robbery. But the people of Oyo believed something else. They believed Oladipo had been killed to silence him. The mysterious killing slowly became less frequent, but people in the town never forgot. Chief Adegbite continued living his normal life, attending meetings and speaking like a wise leader. No one dared to accuse him. Many years later, after Nigeria gained independence, a younger chief made a confession before he died. He admitted that many powerful men in the town had taken part in secret rituals in the forest to gain wealth and power. By then, the forest had already been cut down and turned into farmland. But some elders still say that on quiet nights, if you listen carefully, you can still hear the faint sound of drums coming from far away. The story of the midnight drums of Oyo became a warning to younger generations. It reminds people that sometimes evil can hide behind powerful positions and respected faces. And it reminds people of Oladipo, the brave hunter who tried to stop the darkness. Even though he died, many people still remember his courage. And on silent nights, when the wind blows through the old trees, some say the drums can still be heard.